I call it the budget killer. If you are not including this essential ingredient in your budgeting, it's likely that you're budgeting incorrectly or it's creating the wrong results. I'll tell you what you need to do. Got that and more coming up. How do you manage your non-monthly expenses? How do you manage your non-monthly expenses? We know if you're budgeting, then we know managing your monthly expenses is essential. Your mortgage, going out to eat, your groceries, your utilities, all of those are regular monthly expenses. And if you're budgeting well, you've got hopefully a system for managing those. The key is, how do you manage your non-monthly expenses? Do you have a good plan, a good system for these? Most people don't. And this is why this category of budgeting is the budget killer. If you don't have a good plan for managing your non-monthly expenses, likely it's going to be an extremely frustrating experience and you're not going to make the financial progress that you otherwise could. We all have three categories of expenses. And I'm not talking about fixed expenses like your mortgage or like Netflix, things that come up and they're the same amount every single month, or variable expenses, things that happen every month, but the amount can change a little bit. No. We all have three categories of expenses in that we have monthly expenses, we have non-monthly expenses, and we have emergency expenses. All of us. The monthly I just mentioned, these are expenses that happen routinely every single month. Some of them you know the exact amount. Some of them will vary, like going out to eat or going to the grocery store, but they're going to happen every single month. We also know, I'm going to flip to the far end there, we also know that there's some expenses you just can't plan for. They just come out of the blue. For us, we just had recently a home emergency, and my friend Dave Martin, who is thankfully answered the call when we were in a panic and we had water just gushing into our basement, and thankfully he picked up and helped talk me through what I needed to do to stop the problem and then get the right professionals out there to fix it. Those are emergencies, right? Maybe you could anticipate at some point I'm going to have a home emergency, but you don't know exactly when or the magnitude. Those are emergency expenses. Hopefully they don't come around that often, but those are another category. Sandwiched in between, bucket number two, what we call it, these are non-monthly expenses. These are things like saving up for, Christmas or holidays, right? Birthdays, anniversaries, vacations, car repairs. Like, let's go to the not so fun things, car repairs or home repairs, health insurance deductibles, other, home and auto insurance deductibles, those sorts of things. Things that are likely to come up that don't come up every single month. So why are these non-monthly expenses the budget killer? Why are they so problematic? For three reasons. One, they take your savings. If you don't have a clear plan for managing these non-monthly expenses, then when they do come up, you'll pull the dollars out of savings, so they literally take your savings, or they come up in such frequency that you'd say, well, I want to save up, but I can't because I just don't know when the next thing is going to happen. So number one, they take your savings. That's a huge problem. Two, they damage your confidence, like I just mentioned, because these things seem to happen frequently, but not every single month. You end up feeling frustrated. They take your confidence because you'd say, well, I just can't seem to be taking steps forward. I take one step forward and then two steps back because all of a sudden this margin in my budget got squeezed out because we had this one-time expense. So it steals your financial confidence. And then third, it's hard to know which of these things you can say yes to and which of these things you need to say no to. You might want to do, but you need to say no to. So new furniture, for example, or a spontaneous trip with some friends. They ask you to go on a quick weekend vacation. When can you say yes? When can you say no? If you're not planning for these non-monthly expenses, you don't know. It ends up being an emotional decision. Well, does it feel like we can swing it? Or I really didn't want to say yes anyway, so maybe I'll just say no. Without mapping out and having the clarity for these non-monthly expenses, you don't know when you can say yes or when you really should say no. So how do you plan appropriately for these non-monthly expenses? You've got to build it into your budget, which we call a 3-bank account system. That 3-bank account system is the single one thing. If you were to ask me of all the, exciting financial situations and financial strategies that your team at KFG has helped people with, selling businesses, retiring, doing all sorts of exciting things, what's the one thing that you've seen create the most change, have the biggest impact on people's financial life? It's this 3 bank account system. And it's the blocking and tackling in your financial life, so it doesn't really make the headlines or it doesn't seem too exciting. But if you don't do this well, it's going to be very, very difficult to have financial confidence and have a lot of long-term financial success. This 3 bank account system, the first bank account is your monthly expenses, your immediate spending. This is where you have visibility on all your monthly income and all your monthly expenses to make sure that everything fits and that there's enough margin there. So you are tracking, all right, what are those fixed monthly expenses, the mortgage, the Netflix, the car payment, all those things that happen every month, and you know the exact amount. But also the variable monthly expenses, the groceries, the utility bills, the things that are going to happen every month, but the amounts can vary a little bit. So you map all that out in your immediate spending. Bucket number 2, this non-monthly expenses, we call it delayed spending. This is where on a regular basis, you are taking a look. We've got a list of about 19 different categories of things that are going to be expenses on the horizon, but they don't happen every single month. So things like vacations, things like gifts or holidays, things like car repairs, car maintenance, home improvements, new car replacement, deductibles, those sorts of things. Some of these are have-tos. Some of these are want-tos, like some of those vacations and those sorts of things. You build that out, you list out all of those different criteria, all those categories, and then list out, here's how much we need to cover this expense when it comes up. Divide that by 12, and then you basically have created a monthly budget for all those non-monthly expenses. And you fit that divided by 12, that monthly number into your budget, and you save that monthly amount into this savings account, into this delayed spending account every single month, so that when those expenses, those non-monthly expenses come up, you've got the cash right there. You handle it. There's no 1 step forward, now I'm taking 2 step back. You handle it. It's part of your budget. And then the third account, of course, is the emergency fund. I call it the financial confidence account because you never know when you're upstairs putting groceries away and your spouse screams from the basement, Mike, there's water flowing everywhere. We've got a waterfall. I think she said there's a waterfall or there's a water leak. It was not funny. I will tell you that. It was not funny at the time. You never know when those sorts of things are going to happen or how long it's going to take to fix, what the damage will be, and how expensive it will be. I just do know emergencies will come up financially. And is that going to ruin your financial confidence, or will you have the resources to manage those things when they come up? So that's the 3rd bank account, setting money aside for unknown future expenses. So do you have a plan to manage that budget killer? Do you have a plan to manage your non-monthly expenses? It makes all the difference. A few quick tips. 1, when you're setting up this delayed spending, this non-monthly savings account where you're saving dollars into, set it up where you save automatically. If you do so, you know you can trust that when those expenses come up, you've got the dollars there to handle it. 2nd, don't be a hero. And what I mean by that is when those expenses come up, use that account. Sometimes this is an effective way for people to start saving, and then a non-monthly expense comes up that they've saved for and they say, I don't want to take the money out of my savings account. I bet I've got enough in the checking. I'll just cover it. And that ends up pinching things and it ends up creating a lot of strife and so on. So you're saving up the money for a reason. When those reasons come up, use those resources. Don't be a hero. And then 3rd, update this list of non-monthly expenses and the amounts every 6 to 12 months because things change. You know, expenses change. Your insurance premiums have likely gone up. A car replacement or car repair, those have likely gone up as well. You need to revisit this on a regular basis to adjust how much you're saving and make sure it fits in your monthly budget. So every 6 to 12 months, check into this list of non-monthly expenses you're saving for. So work that plan. Work with your certified financial planner. Build out that 3-bank account system. Do that great blocking and tackling in your financial life to have long-term future financial success. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.